Tech Cocktail Sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
Following Kathy's. I said yesterday, well, I don't mind speaking as long as I don't speak anywhere near Kathy. And then I looked at the thing and I was like, I'm right after her. That's so great. So hi, everyone. I'm actually tweaking the talk a little bit. So it is going to be about how your business can be part of the local community. But what I want to talk about a little bit more is how you build cause into your life. And that's going to tie to your community as well. There's a Kurt Vonnegut quote that I like that says, the only way good wins over evil is if the angels are more organized than the mobsters. And what I feel about that is that there's all these elements that we can do to build good into the company, even if it's not intuitively part of who you are. So I'm going to cover off on 3 basic topics. The first is defining what you care about. And these are sort of taking a page from the playbook of startups and the tech community. So the first is going to be defining what you care about. The second is creating investment strategy. And the third is going to be defining the return. So first I'll tell a little story about myself. I've always been one of those people who's very involved in cause. I was the 4th grader who was slightly too precocious and decided to start a recycling program in my middle school and went to my teacher and said, you know, these new bins were coming out of Pittsburgh. It was sort of a rare thing to even talk about recycling, and I felt that it was something that we should do. And my parents definitely thought I was crazy, but you know, I organized it with the school administrators. I thought it sounded like a good idea. We got it kicked off, and they're still doing it. When I was in high school, I thought it would be so great. I was volunteering at the time for the Pittsburgh AIDS Task Force and was doing some other community-based work. This is pre-community service being a requirement for graduation. And I thought that a lot of my friends would also benefit from volunteering, but a lot of people just weren't interested, which I think is fairly common. There's just people who say that's probably not for me, but if they haven't tried it, like trying anything new, it's just something that's new and different, and people don't always push themselves to do that. So with the student council, with an advisor, I actually organized an entire day where the school wouldn't have classes, so the teachers let everybody have off. I spent a summer organizing bus and food and lining up over there's about 15 different volunteer opportunities, everything from cleaning up a school to working with dogs, to working with kids, and basically letting the whole school be off for a day. Something now the United Way does is called the Day of Caring, and it's very similar, and you can do it for your workplace or for your school. But this was sort of before that was created, and my high school still does it every year and invited me back last year to talk about it and to kind of commemorate it. And you know, when I was in college, I did similar things. But when I graduated college, I got a very corporate job, and I was working at Ernst & Young in Boston, and I thought, I don't have time for this. I am just going to work. And I was young, and I wasn't making a lot of money, and I had a lot of responsibility. And after about a year, I hated my life. I just absolutely couldn't stand the idea of not building it in, and I didn't really know how. And I always felt like it seemed something that had to be so big. So I wouldn't volunteer until I had this amount of time. I wouldn't give money until I had this amount of money. I wouldn't do things unless I knew there was this one cause thing that I was so passionate about beyond all of the rest of them. And the lesson that I learned is that giving back is like being in a relationship or being in a job. We're not expected to have one job anymore for the rest of our lives. We're not expected to marry the first person we go on a date with. And so when I talk about defining what you care about, what I would say to everybody is these do not have to be completely altruistic things. Something might tie to your business. It can build into your community. It can be something you care about. And so to really think and sit with that. And when I've worked with companies from the Microsoft and Samsung to startups, to living in New Orleans and being part of the social entrepreneurship community there, a lot of it is defining it. And so once you've defined it, I then sort of start to talk about creating an investment strategy, very similar to if you have a portfolio of companies. So if you have an investment strategy, what I sort of say to people is think about the year and how much you think you want to give back. That could be money, or it could be dollars. There's an African proverb, take no joy in the hole in my bowl. And that idea is that other people that are suffering all around you, you can find a way to help them. And so when I talk about investment strategy, for me, when I was younger, I equated that to 1 month's rent because I wanted it to be an amount that I could feel, and that seemed reasonable to me. For some people, it could be a set amount of money. But I looked across the year and I said, how much am I willing to give back and how much time do I want to give? And then I thought about what are the things I sort of care about. For me, it was women, it was education, it was microfinance. I also wanted to do things locally that affected my community. I wanted something national. I was going to participate with my alumni networks, and then I wanted something global. And so I thought about all of those different things and then started to invest, both in making donations, in contacting alumni groups and saying, how can I be more involved? And some of those, of course, led to business conversations, led to business opportunities, led to ways of being more civically engaged and involved in my community. And I think that over time, that amount has grown quite significantly, and in part because I started small and because I wasn't as scared to pivot into different types of causes that I was passionate about, or to find out more about one that I was giving to and say, this one isn't exactly for me. So I would sign up for different newsletters, I would get involved, I would go volunteer for somewhere where I hadn't given them any money at all, and kind of just think about how that could build in. The same works for a lot of companies who want to be involved in their community and or with government, because what we see a lot from government officials, certainly here in Vegas, they're paying a lot of attention to what's going on. So what a great opportunity to say, we're going to make this part of who we are. On Tony Hsieh's Post-it note wall today, I saw one of them said, have a poker night where all the money goes to a nonprofit. I also saw another one that said, offer one of the commercial spaces to various nonprofits. There was another one, have pop-up spaces for different ideas to vet them out, and how great if some of those ideas were around social enterprise or social impact. And then the third one really is about defining the return. So defining return can mean something to you emotionally. It can also mean something to your pocketbook. It can mean something to your professional advancement. I work now in an agency. I lead the digital marketing and social team. I have a team of mostly women that I work with and some guys. And really when I talk to them about where they want to go in their careers, I also do talk about finding a nonprofit they can connect with. I'm on a board, I'm an advisor for another nonprofit, and both of them bring me tremendous opportunity, both within New York, within the philanthropic community there, but also, you know, from business, and then of course they make me happy. Of course they make me have opportunities to do great things. But overall, you know, I think that defining the return for anything we do in life, be it eating healthier, finding a new job, getting a better relationship, cause-based, starting a company, all of those things, we focus a lot on what is the return going to be, but for a lot of people who focus on giving back, they don't do the same thing because they think it shouldn't have that kind of return. So what I would say to all of you is, regardless of your business or your business ethos or where you are today, I would encourage you to find ways that you can give back as individuals, as your company, both for your own professional development and also for your altruistic goals. If you want to talk more about it, I'm happy to discuss. Thank you.